Welcome back inside Melbourne Ballpark. Michael Dixon joined by Ed White momentarily. The rest of our Sportscast Australia crew thrilled to be with you for Game 40 of this 40-game ABL regular season. That's right, hard to believe. This is the regular season finale. It is Game 4 of a 4-game series between the Aces and the Canberra Cavalry. And what a series we've seen. First and foremost, the crowds. They've been massive the last two nights. The two largest regular season crowds in Aces history. And all weekend, they've been treated to a great series. Go back to Thursday night, Canberra wins 2-0. The Aces return the favor on Friday night with a 2-0 win. And then yesterday, Canberra with an early 4-0 lead. The Aces clawed back 3 consecutive innings with a solo home run. They were right there, had some chances late. Unfortunately, the Cavalry win it by a final score of 4-3, and the Cavs have won 2 of the first 3 games in this series. The good news, the games don't necessarily matter. In fact, entering the final day of the regular season, we know how the standings will shake out 1 through 6. So we know that Melbourne is locked into that 4 seed, and they'll play Adelaide in a 3-game series in the first round of the playoffs next weekend. But that doesn't mean that this game doesn't matter for some individual players and some milestones that we've been watching for the last couple of games. How about Daryl George? 39 home runs. He's 1 home run shy of becoming the all-time franchise home run leader. Brad Harmon with 39, Daryl George with 39, Georgie trying to get to 40. How about Greg Bird? 38 RBIs. He leads the league in home runs and RBIs, and I don't think that's going to change today. But if he can somehow pick up 5 RBIs, he'd be the first Melbourne Ace with 43 or more RBIs in a single season. So we've got that to watch. Aaron Whitefield, he's hit safely in 15 consecutive games. He's 1 shy of 16, which would be 1 shy of the 17 from Elliott Biddle. Now, you're probably doing the math and saying, well, Whitefield's got 1 game left. He can set himself up to potentially tie and break that record next season. But still, it's the second longest hitting streak in Aces history, and he's been one of the best players in the league in the second half of the regular season. So, can Aaron Whitefield stretch that hitting streak to 16? We'll see. And a little bit lower down, Robbie Glendening, 29 walks. He's the league leader. He's 1 shy of the 30 walks that Brad Harmon had back in 2015-16. That is the single-season franchise mark. So there's a chance that Glendening could do something we've never seen in Aces history with a couple of walks today. All of that means we've got a lot to focus on in game number 4 of this 4-game series and game 40 of this 40-game regular season. It's been so much fun. Ed and I can't wait to bring you one more regular season game. Ed joins me right after this. You're watching the Brick Lane Brewing Company pregame show, and it's right here on Aces TV. And the Aces have broken out in a big way. It's up, and there's number 8. Mitch Edwards, his first as a Melbourne Ace, no doubt about it, out to left. For one final time in the regular season, it is Aces baseball right here on Sportscast Australia. Michael Dixon, Ed Wyatt, the rest of our fantastic crew bringing you Game 4 of Round 10. And 4 times 10 equals 40. It's Game 40 of the regular season, Ed. So nice to be back with you once again on the cooler, cloudier, and chillier overall day at the ballpark. But still, it's been so much fun this week. And as the managers come together and the umpires come together one last time in the regular season, you and I come together one last time. There you see it, 18 degrees with winds at 32 kilometers an hour. And so you've got a Sunday afternoon that feels a lot like the Sunday afternoons we've had this season, but nonetheless, we're looking forward to the final game of the year.
Great to be here with you again, Michael. It's there's a sense of casualness about this one, and I don't mean that in a negative sense. Neither team can change their situation, as we've talked about. The Aces are in that 4th spot. They'll play Adelaide next week. Canberra's season is finished, although they've played really well in this series, which is a credit to manager Keith Ward and that team and their sense of professionalism, which I think has made this series very, very exciting. So looking forward to another interesting game today, Michael.
Well, let's go ahead and meet the starting lineup for the Aces in game number 40, and we'll talk about this. It'll look a little strange in game 40 because there's a change that we'll have to talk about, but also they're going to try and feature everybody today, get everybody some repetition. But Chris Burke in left field, so Berkey gets a start with Aaron Whitefield on a 15-game hitting streak back there in center. So he's got a chance to inch closer to that all-time record.
Absolutely.
Jimmy Kerrigan is in right field. No surprises there, but midway through the game, we're anticipating Zion Bannister to take over in right. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens, but that's what we think is going to happen. Meanwhile, Jared Belbin gets another start, this time at third base. He was the DH last night. No surprises, Robbie Glendening at short, but a surprise, he's leading off.
Yeah, I think maybe to get him out of that little slump he's in.
It is George Khalil at second base. We anticipate Jared Dale to take over at some point at second base. Greg Bird is at first. No surprises there with the 11 home runs to lead the league this season. And the catcher, Mitch Edwards, for the fourth time in this series. So they're riding Edwards hard because they don't really have another option. The designated hitter this afternoon, Darryl George, can he hit home run number 40? We'll have to wait and see. And on the mound for the Aces, the left-hander Gunnar Kynes. Gunnar has been outstanding at home this season with a 1.65 home ERA. That's how the Aces line up. Melbourne 20-19 coming into game number 40. Canberra 12-26. Ed, we know that this series didn't have a whole lot of implication for the standings. We know the standings will finish as they are right now, 1 through 6. So let's just have some fun today.
Yeah, exactly right. We'll talk about Robbie Glendening struggling a bit, 1 for 10 in this series, 4 strikeouts. So I think Deeb's moving him to the leadoff position is maybe an opportunity to get him back on track as we head into the finals.
Well, Gunnar Kynes takes the mound, and we're just about ready to go in the last game of the season for Canberra, the last regular season game for Melbourne. And the Aces take the field here at Melbourne Ballpark. Hopefully not for the last time overall. We'll just have to wait and see what happens in Adelaide next week. Well, when we step aside, we're back with the Canberra lineup after this. This is Aces TV. Anthem finished and we're ready to go in game number 4 of this 4-game series, the last regular season game of the year for Melbourne before the Aces head to Adelaide for round 1 of the playoffs next weekend. Well, Canberra has played scrappy and overall pretty well in this series. The Cavalry before this series with just 3 road wins altogether. They have a chance to win 3 of 4 on the road to wrap up the year. Michael Campbell, the right fielder, leading off. Mint Park at short. Cam Warner in left, Perkins, Fullerton, Barry, 4, 5, and 6. Tilly Moritz, Greer, 7, 8, 9. Kode Hamea is the starting pitcher. And for the Cavalry, it's the same lineup 1 through 9, but the positions look a little bit different. And why mess with something when it worked pretty well? 4 runs yesterday, a couple of big swings, back-to-back home runs in that 4th inning. And Canberra absolutely has deserved the 2 of 3 wins they've had so far in this series.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for them, I think. It's been, as I mentioned, a bit of a casual, loose situation. Little peek behind the curtain for people watching and listening today. We needed to go find the lineups tonight, so I went over to Canberra. We had the names, but we didn't have a position, so Michael Campbell was nice enough to run me through it, and he just said, we're messing with you guys a little bit up there in the booth. I think he was kidding, but I think it's an opportunity for them, and we'll see when they line up defensively. Greer goes from second to short. little opportunity for him just to get some experience at short and maybe mix things up a little bit. So the Aces and Cavalry sort of doing the same thing, really, if you look at it that way. Like the uniforms today, there's the Canberra blue and gray, which is very sharp, and then the Aces in their traditional white with the blue caps.
By the way, I meant to bring this up yesterday, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize to Gareth Lawson, who does the merchandise for the Cavalry. And you and I think, were discussing on Thursday when the Cavs were wearing the throwback uniforms. Maybe it was Friday, I can't remember. With the cap, and they had the patch, and we were trying to figure out for what reason they had the patch. And Lawson reached out, friend of the broadcast now. He said, hey, they're doing that as a commemoration to the 10-year anniversary of the team that
won the Asian championship,
which was a huge deal for baseball and ACT, and obviously it is something worth celebrating. So thanks so much for passing that along, Gareth. Sorry I didn't mention it yesterday, but knew that I had to sneak it in today. Gunnar Kynes on the mound, first pitch inside, and we're underway in the last game of the year. Michael Campbell played in game number 200 yesterday.
I said to him, you're getting a lot of action in out there in right field. He's like, you're not kidding.
Well, this is fouled back. Gunnar Kynes this year 2-3 with a 4.91 ERA. 33 innings, 31 hits, 20 runs, 18 earned. He's walked 8 and struck out 35. Kynes, though, did not face Canberra earlier this year. Remember, Gunnar was not on the roster for the first 2 rounds. He made his debut when the Aces returned home from that series at Canberra and pitched against Brisbane. So Gunnar facing Canberra for the first time this season, but not for the first time in his career. This is actually the 6th time that Gunnar Kynes is facing the Cavalry. And he swings and misses, does Campbell. Strikeouts have been a problem for him in this series, 5 of those now. And you love to see that from Gunnar Kynes, more than a strikeout per inning. And he's been outstanding at home this season, a 1.65 home ERA in 3 starts at MVP. So the Aces are hoping that Gunnar rounds back into form here late before they'll obviously rely on him heavily against Adelaide next weekend. And there's no better way to try and get him back on track after he gave up 3 home runs in Perth last weekend, and having to start here where he's been outstanding all season.
I was thinking about this last night, Michael. If there was a real baseball culture at the mainstream level and you had sports radio, there would be a massive debate about how John Diebel and Peter Moylan set up the pitching going into the series against Adelaide.
Well, I'm sure you and I will talk a little bit about that as the afternoon progresses, and also now that we know the 2 playoff matchups, like to pick your brain on those a little bit as well.
Well, it'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Adelaide. And then if the Aces do win and get into the ABL Championship Series, it'll be here Friday night, the following Friday night. Which means you and I get to do it one more time.
Yeah, the sign-off message today will be, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll talk to you again.
Well, we'll see you for the Hanwha series, but yeah, you're right.
2-2, fouled back. Here's Min Park. He struggled mightily in the calendar month, 5-40. And he's struggled heavily against Melbourne this season, 2 for 24. But still hitting north of 215. So before January and outside of the season series against Melbourne, he's been all right. He swings and misses, and Gunnar Kynes with back-to-back strikeouts to begin things here tonight.
That's a good start for Gunnar.
Well, each of the last 2 nights, Randy Wynn and Lewis Thorpe have gone 3 up, 3 down in the first inning. So Kynes trying to match that here in the final regular season game of the season. Here's Cam Warner, left fielder, batting third. And he takes a belt-tie strike.
He's battled as well, too. Michael, 1 for 12 in the series, has been on with a walk. But that top of the order has just really, really struggled. It's been that middle of the order, right? Fullerton, Barry, Tilley with the home runs. Perkins as well. And then Jalen Greer at the end of bottom of the lineup, 3 for 6, having a very good series.
Called a strike over the inside corner, and Warner looks back to Casey Cook in disbelief. Kenichi Umeki at first, Kengo Iwashita at second. Friend of the broadcast, Jeff Dunn at third. 1-2 with 2 outs. Here's the 1 and a pitch. Check swing, appeal, he didn't go. That would have been a really nice cherry on top of a 3-up, 3-down first inning, but 2 balls, 2 strikes here to Cam Warner. Just 2 for 24 in the season set as Min Park was entering play this afternoon. And a swing and a miss, strike 3.
Wow.
Gunnar Kynes strikes out the side in order in the top of the first, and we go to the bottom half. Good start for Gunnar, good start for the Aces. No score here at Melbourne Ballpark.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than specials, we have specialty. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe. At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Fans in the stands here on a cloudy day. Need to remind you that Melbourne Aces Baseball is powered by Business Network International, BNI International, flourishing across Melbourne's West and Geelong. Local businesses, including the Aces, join BNI for professional development, networking opportunities, and to increase business prospects. Find your local BNI chapter to tap a wealth of resources and join a winning team.
Well, we go to the bottom of the first, and Kodai Hamea with his first pitch home. Robbie Glendenning, 1 hit in the series before that, 1 pitch in the leadoff spot, and John Diebel's experiment.
He's
so
a
far,
genius.
so good.
John Diebel is a genius.
Leadoff single for Robbie.
How about that?
So Kodai Hamea, 2-5 with a 6.52 ERA. So he's been hit around this year. 38 2/3 innings, 42 hits, 31 runs, 15 walks, 26 strikeouts. Darryl George, of course, we've talked already at length in this series. 1 swing shy of becoming the all-time Aces home run king. He's got 1 more game to do it this season. I'm sure we'll see him again next year. So it's an eventuality. But I think Ed and I would like to see it before the end of the day.
I'd like to see it for you, Michael.
I've worked hard for this moment. Well, Hamea's numbers have not been very good, but he has been pretty good on the road. Much better on the road, actually. There's a backdoor breaking ball, 0-2.
That's another one of those weird stats, isn't it? We've dug up a lot of these, or you have. He's better on the road than he's at home.
This is his 5th time pitching away from home, 1-2 with a 4.50 ERA on the road. At home, where you're supposed to be more comfortable in 5 starts, 1-2 with an 8.68 earned run average. Darryl George fights this fastball foul. And the irony there is that Hamea's first home start came against Melbourne, and he was very good. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. And that was the only game that Canberra won in that 4-game series in late November. Remember, the Cavs won the first game 10-1, and then the Aces won the last 3 in convincing fashion. Out to right field and down for a base hit. Oh, and that's a close play at second, but Glendenning in safely. So Darryl George with a single.
If we get a replay of that, and I don't know if we will, I think that was Michael Campbell foxing a little bit and pretending he was going to catch it on the fly to see if George was caught between Glendinning.
You'll see that from time to time.
Yeah.
Never seemed like he was going to make the catch. A lot easier for us to say up here. And, there might have been a little gamesmanship there.
And he almost got the force at second. Very clever.
Which would have been brutal for Darryl because then it goes down as a fielder's choice instead of a base hit.
Exactly.
But now Darryl has hits in 6 straight. Aaron Whitefield has hits in 15 straight. It's the second longest hitting streak in Aces history. So speaking of waiting a while to try and see history, if Whitey picks up a hit this afternoon, he'll have hits in 16 straight, one shy of Elliott Biddle's all-time franchise record of 17. And Whitefield, back next year, almost certainly, will wait about 10 months to try and match Biddle's all-time hitting streak. Congrats to Whitey, too. He signed a contract with the Sioux Falls Canaries of the American Association. So I'll see Whitey this upcoming summer.
That's great.
Salt Dogs and Canaries play quite a few games against one another. 2-0, it's a hitter's count. Make that 3-0, and Hamea just doesn't look very comfortable here in the early going.
Yeah, tough start. I was talking with Aaron before the game. They were kicking a footy around. I asked if he played any footy. No, he said rugby union and rugby league, as well as touch, softball, of course, because both his parents played softball, and baseball. So, very good athlete.
Here's the 3-0. Yeah, they get me over strike.
Did say to me if he hadn't had some injuries, he probably would have stayed with rugby league. So the ABL's loss may have been the NRL's gain if he'd done that.
And he would never have made it to Major League Baseball.
That's true.
3-1. Yeah, Whitefield walks. The bases are loaded with nobody out for Greg Bird. I said off the top, you weren't with us, Ed. Obviously, things happen quickly, so I do the pregame solo on Sundays. But Greg Bird with such a sweet swing. And how about this umpire cam that we got yesterday? A trial run, and it gives you an idea of what Jeffrey Dunn sees. And that was just that fight-off flare to center field. Shows you he can do it all. First pitch, swing and a miss. But I told you that Darryl George had 39 home runs. He was looking for 40. Another milestone would have been Greg Bird with 5 RBIs. He could set the single-season franchise record. Got a chance to drive in 4 right here. Sitting on 38 RBIs, 11 home runs. And he lines this into right field. That's down for a base hit. 1 run scores, station to station everywhere else. RBI number 39 for Greg Bird. And the Aces are on the board, 1-0 here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, just a routine, and I don't say that lightly, Greg Bird hit. Just a great swing. Drives in that RBI you mentioned and getting closer.
One issue for Hamea this year, he has been crushed in tough situations. Opponents batting .348 with runners on, .400 this year against Hamea with runners in scoring position. So it's been very difficult for him to work out of jams just like this one. He hasn't recorded an out yet. The Aces have a 1-0 lead. For Jimmy Kerrigan, swings and misses, 0-1.
And Michael, there is just like that, some Cavalry players not sprinting but running out to the bullpen. So not what Keith Ward, manager of the Cavalry, would want, but they're going to get some action going here with Hamea in early trouble.
Kerrigan's got 1 hit in the series, but that one left the yard. And this stroke towards right center, plenty deep enough. Campbell into the gap, makes the catch. George tags, throw goes to third. Whitefield in safe. Sack fly for Kerrigan, and RBIs in consecutive games for the midseason acquisition. And the Aces have a 2-0 lead here in the first. Yeah, good base running elsewhere with Whitefield and Bird both advancing. So 1 out, 2 in. And here's Jared Belbin. And you said you want to go ahead and pull the curtain back. Another look at this sack fly from Jimmy Kerrigan.
Watch Campbell on this. It's really interesting. Does the old 360 spin and turn.
So Brendan Beacom is the outstanding photographer
Yes.
of the Aces, and he and I chat before each game as he prepares. Extremely nice man. Love chatting with him. But he asked me, who's my pick to click today? I looked up and down the lineup. I said, you know what? I think Jared Belbin's got it in him today. So that was my prediction. Chance to put himself on the right track. Here's a ground ball. It'll score a run through the legs of Barry. And Belbin is safe. That is an error all the way. He'll get the RBI, and the Aces have a 3 spot in the bottom of the first.
I think I overheard that conversation. Jared Belbin's got it going with an error in the first. Is that what you said?
Well, he does pick up the RBI,
He
so
does.
he puts the ball on the ground right side of the infield, and Barry just lays that right between his legs, and he knows it.
You know what Keith Ward did say to me before the game? He said, we've played well, he said, but when our errors and our issues come, they come in bunches,
Yeah.
which is really interesting.
Well, that's the 45th error for Canberra, and that's the most in the ABL. So when you're a team that struggles and you're not doing yourself any favors, things can get tough, and it is all Melbourne here in the first inning. Ground ball right side. This will score a run. Mitch Edwards comes through. Greg Bird scores, and it's 4-0 here in the first.
And I may be wrong, Michael, but I see some rain coming down out there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure
because
like
I see people moving. We got some rain. So I think Canberra's been doing a rain dance down there in their dugout.
This is actually a pretty good little shower that's popped
you
up.
see people moving from the seats.
Scrambling for cover.
It's like ants down below us scrambling under the. Yeah, not an ideal situation here.
We've
on
got
a number of levels.
Yeah, we've got a visit out there with Amaya, trying to get him through the rest of this first inning. And folks scramble for cover. Hopefully this isn't something that lasts too long, but
Gonna have a look at the weather as we.
I'll say this. Yeah, a game that means nothing in the standings, but a chance to end the regular season on a high note and get yourself set up for a big series in the playoffs against Adelaide next weekend. This is about as good of a start as you could have imagined.
Yeah, absolutely right.
4 consecutive plate appearances resulting in an RBI. 2 on, 1 out. 4 runs in. Chris Burke lines the first pitch foul. It's 0-1. What's our radar looking like, Ed?
I haven't found it yet. I'm still. I got stuck on TikTok. No, just kidding. I'm digging it up here. Doesn't look like it's anything too major at all. I think maybe just a little squall, but we'll see.
Burke behind nothing at 2. Didn't play yesterday. 1 for 4 with a double and a strikeout in the series. 4-0 Melbourne in the bottom of the first. So great start to this game for the Aces. And we knew that they'd have a chance to knock Kode Hamea around. They've done exactly that. And Burke spoils this foul. Still 0-2. 1 out. Here's how it happened. Glendenning led off with a single, then George a single. Whitefield walked. Bases loaded, nobody out. Greg Bird, RBI single. Jimmy Kerrigan sack fly. Jared Belbin then hit a ground ball to the right side that would have scored a run regardless, but went through the legs of Barry, so Belbin reached on the error. And Mitch Edwards with an RBI single. And Burke with a line drive over to third. It's caught. They double up Jared Belbin at second. And sure enough, why not? Canberra turns its 5th double play in the series. When the Cavalry entered this series with the fewest double plays turned this season. So kind of a strange ending to that first inning, but an ending nonetheless to an inning in which the Aces score 4 times with 4 hits and error and 1 runner left on base. All Melbourne early 4-0. We go to the second.
One Love is there for the moments with the people you love the most, to share the highs and the lows together. It's the one for all people, all times and all places. Brick Lane's One Love Pale Ale, it's the one for all.
At U Blinds Australia, it's our great low prices that make the difference. In our end of summer Aloha clearance sale, save from 30% up to 50% off our range of blinds, shutters and awnings. U Blinds Australia, more value for you.
Well, it seems as if the rain has calmed a little bit. Maybe just a little shower passing through on a cool and windy Sunday afternoon in Altona, but the Aces with a great start to this game. Gunnar Kynes back to work. He struck out the side in order in the first. And then the Aces propped him up with 4 in the bottom of the first. So 4-0 Melbourne as we go to the second. And it'll be Perkins followed by Fullerton and Barry 4, 5, and 6. First pitch. Strike one from Gunnar Kynes, who looks good. Perkins entered this series with 27 RBIs. That was second most in the league. But he does not have an RBI in this series. Has not had a plate appearance with a runner in scoring position. So he hasn't had many chances.
Hard to do, doesn't it? This is kind of what we expected, I think, coming in on Thursday night, Michael, was just sort of a free-flowing game. Aces, in a playoff position. Canberra struggling a bit. This is kind of what I think fans wanted to see. Bang.
How about that? 4 consecutive strikeouts for Gunnar Kynes.
It's unbelievable.
Perkins with a half-hearted wave and a miss. And all 4 of these strikeouts for Gunnar swinging. And there's nothing too special about that. Just an elevated fastball and blows it right by Robbie Perkins.
Well, Fullerton struck out 4 times, and the man on deck, Barry, has already struck out 3 times in this series.
First pitch high and inside. Again, Gunnar's been outstanding at home this season, so not overly surprising that he's pitching the way that he is. Fullerton had that home run on Thursday night. What was the difference in a 2-0 game? So Canberra won 2-0. The Aces returned a 2-0 favor on Friday night. And then last night, really good game. Canberra took a 4-0 lead after 4 innings, and the Aces scratched and clawed and got within 1, but fell just short. We learned before the game that the Aces were locked into that 4 spot. 1-2. And it's high from Gunnar Kynes.
Getting the full Melbourne 4 seasons in one day treatment out here today. You get sunshine, wind, rain, you name it.
2-2. Swing and a miss. And Gunnar Kynes with 5 consecutive strikeouts to start this game.
Unbelievable.
He is just mowing the Cavalry down. Canberra yet to put a ball in play against the lefty, and that's just a fastball right down the pipe. He says, catch up to this, and Fullerton cannot. And finally, a ball put in play. First test for any of the Aces fielders, and Belbin knocks it down with a toss across. It's in time to get Barry. And 6 up, 6 down for Gunnar Kynes to begin the final game of the year. One more look. And for the first time, a ball that someone behind Gunnar Kynes has to do something about. Belbin did a nice job adjusting, and that is the end of the second. We go to the bottom half, 4-0. The Aces on top. Well, Sunday Fun Day means got to do the chicken dance. And I'm sure that you'd have a few more people doing the chicken dance if they had a little bit more liquid courage. Dasher and Fisher, beginning in 2017 with a vision to specialize in gens that speak of place and express Tasmania's remoteness and untouched beauty. Well, there is some of that. Jared Dale with a single back up the middle. And
there's some untouched beauty right there.
Yes, right there. Well, he did touch it, and it was beauty right up the middle. But, Dasher and Fisher taste the rich, fertile soils and pure cradle mountain snowmelt in every drop of Dasher and Fisher Tasmanian gin.
It was untouched because no player from...
Oh, there you go. I see what you're saying.
That's what I was working with.
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
You get it?
I get it.
Been a great sponsor for us, obviously, Dasher and Fisher, and lovely, lovely gins.
First pitch low to Robbie Glendenning, back for a second time.
So Glendenning struggling coming in, and all of a sudden gets in that leadoff spot, gets his second hit. And as we said earlier, John Diebel looks like a genius.
And that is crushed. Left center, Moritz back on the track, and he makes the catch. That is a home run yesterday.
I was just thinking that.
A warning track fly out today.
Yep.
That was crushed by Robbie, but out number one here in the second.
Yeah, it's a great point, Michael. That would definitely have gone out last night, and we did talk about how the ballpark plays differently. Going to be a little harder today. Not as bad as we've seen in the past, but a little more difficult to get one out of the park, but doable, without a doubt.
Well, Darryl singled in the first. He's got hits in 6 consecutive games, again sitting on 39 home runs. 40 would be the all-time record. First pitch, swing and a miss. Well, Kodai Hamea making his second start of the year against the Aces, his last start in the final game, and the Cavs have a couple of pitchers to make 10 starts this year, with McGovern starting for the 10th time a couple of days back. One and one here to Darryl. And that is crushed deep left center field. Warner back on the track at the wall, and it's off the base of the wall. Darryl George with another extra base hit. Thought that might be the one. He's got a big smile as he cruises into second. But the Aces have runners at second and third with one out here in the bottom of the second.
I think that's another one, Michael, that would have been out yesterday. He got all of it. Just not quite enough on this pseudo-windy day.
It's cool and that wind blowing in.
Oh.
And Warner had a long way to go. I think this is probably the end for Hamea.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. There's Keith Ward coming out in the orange striped shirt. Takes the ball from Hamea. His work is done.
Well, he just didn't have it. 30-year-old from Japan. And a frustrating end to what has been a frustrating year for him. So Canberra goes to the bullpen. We'll tell you more about the reliever coming in. Aces threatening already with a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the second. And it's a punt 1-2-3 pitching change here on Aces TV. Well, it's a punt 1-2-3 pitching change and a 4-0 lead for the Aces, and they've chased starter Kodai Hamea after just an inning and a third. So the Japanese righty in his final start, his 10th start of the season, makes way for Billy Parsons. 24 years of age from Bendigo, so not too terribly far away.
Not at all.
And 3 1/3 scoreless against Melbourne in 2 appearances back in November. So Parsons, a Victoria kid, pitching back in his home state, but for the Canberra Cavalry. And they'll probably ask quite a bit of him this afternoon with no games left for the Cavalry after this. And a nightmare start for the Cavs. A perfect start for the Aces, and Daryl George with a double. At second base, Jared Dale at third. 2 in scoring position with 1 out. Here comes Aaron Whitefield with a chance to add to Melbourne's lead.
I think the rain has dissipated, Michael.
Great Sunday crowd. First pitch, high and tight to Whitey, who walked his first time. So Parsons making his 14th appearance. He's got a 4.22 ERA, 21 1/3, 25 hits. He's walked 11, struck out 18. Right-hander delivers, and Whitefield swings through it. He was out to a good start, but the month of January has been tough for him. 3 runs allowed in 3 1/3, and he's pitched more this year than he had in either of his first 2 seasons with Canberra. 21 1/3 coming into today, 13 1/3 in his first 2 seasons. So it's been quite the coming out party for Billy Parsons. One of the feel-good stories in Australian baseball. Good block there by Tilley behind the plate. And a kid, too, who just through perseverance earned a job, made his American debut with Sussex County in the Frontier League, where he allowed just 6 runs in 28 appearances during the American summer, 34 strikeouts in 36 innings. Now, the Frontier League is a younger professional league, but still, those are great numbers. 2-1. Whitefield in the air down the right field line. Campbell gives chase, and that is foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. You know, Ed, I wonder how much they really do a deep dive into the stats in each clubhouse. And coming in, I felt like even though Hamea's numbers had not been great, he'd been a lot better in 2 circumstances, pitching on the road and pitching during the day, actually. His daytime numbers, a 4.09 ERA, as opposed to nighttime numbers, a 7.48, would lead you to believe he's just maybe more comfortable pitching that proverbial getaway day game, or maybe the first game of a doubleheader, afternoon start. But it was a nightmare for him, and this is ripped into left field. That is down for a base hit, gets past Warner. Whitefield's got hits in 16 straight. He drives in Dale. George right behind him. Whitey going for third. He slides in safely. And the Aces have a 6-0 lead in the bottom of the second.
How about that? Whitefield just continuing to hit. And also the errors, the troubles that seem to mount on this Canberra Cavalry team, and Warner misplays that in left field. Here's a replay of that. Just stroked beautifully by Whitefield. Then just an unfortunate error there from Warner. And then the throw. White may have gotten Whitefield if it were on line, but it wasn't.
I think it would have, yeah. So there is an error on the play. Swing and a miss from Greg Bird. So for Whitefield, it goes down as an RBI single. And a 2-base error.
Yep.
I don't think he gets credit for the Daryl George run in terms of RBIs. This is ripped foul by Greg Bird. 1 more RBI for Bird, and he'd be only the 3rd player in Aces history with 40 for a single season. 6-0 Melbourne all over the Cavalry.
They're playing like the old Cavaliers back in the 70s when they won about 7 games pre-LeBron.
I don't know why I keep getting that one in my. It's got to be because they call them the Cavs.
Yeah, they call them the Cavs, and used to hearing Cavaliers. Yep. Absolutely.
Someone tell the American to stop talking. Greg Bird with that single in the first has hits now in 6 straight. 6-0. The Aces lead. What a breakout.
Oh.
And that pinball's into the Cavalry dugout. Looks like everyone's all right, but that took kind of a wicked bounce as it hopped in there.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, and this getaway day game that doesn't mean that much. You just kind of want that starting pitcher to get through 3 innings minimum. Canberra, who knows what they're going to have to do here on the mound.
1-2. Fly ball high in the air, center field. Moritz back on the track. He's got room. Greg Bird with a very loud sacrifice fly, but that is RBI number 40, and what an accomplishment for the Birdman. Only the 3rd player in Aces history with 40 RBIs in a single season, and what a season that he's had.
Yeah, contact again, and we hate to sound like a broken record and keep repeating it. That probably
was
gets
gone
out
last
as
night.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
So
all that
2 outs.
Sorry, all that says is they're making great contact.
They are hammering both Hamea and now Parsons. In fact, I think you could comfortably say now that 3 balls the Aces have hit that have stayed in the yard today would have left the yard last night. Saw 5 combined home runs from these teams, 3 from Melbourne, including 1 from Kerrigan. Kerrigan a sac fly to first. And that skips in from Parsons. Two balls and 1 strike. 7-0. The Aces on top. The only thing that you don't like about something like this is how much of a groove Gunnar Kynes was in, and he's kind of sitting on the pine on a cold Sunday afternoon. Want to get him back out there as soon as you can, so he can keep rolling. And Kerrigan walks, so the inning continues for Jared Belbin.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Michael. You were spot on with that. I was kind of thinking, let's wrap this up and get him out.
It's the last game of the year, so you're already in that playoff spot. You know who your opponent's going to be.
You got 7 runs.
You got a 7-0 lead. Canberra, you feel like, just is ready to get this season over with and get back home. But Gunnar Kynes struck out the first 5 batters and retired the first 6 in order. So let's get him back out there so he can keep rolling. Jared Belbin in the air to right field. Hit it hard, but Campbell makes the catch. And Kynes can get back to work. He's got 7 runs of support through 2 innings, and the Aces have a touchdown and a PAT after 2.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Aussie gardeners are best served by Aussie tools, built specifically for our unique environment and conditions. Back in the 1890s, Leonard Chambers and William Thompson started a beekeeping supply business in Melbourne. Little would they know that their company would go on to change how Australians garden for well over a century. Cyclone is ingrained into our country's history and our way of life. Our tools are long-lasting and purpose-built for hard work.
We've been making quality tools for over a century.
They last that long, you can hand them down to the next generation.
Good, quality, honest product that the Australian people have grown to love.
It's not an Aussie shed without a cyclone.
My biggest takeaway of being here for 34 years is just sense of pride in the product.
Australians buy good products. So if they keep on buying, we keep on making, so we're here.
Cyclone tools, made for Australians.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Gunnar Kynes with an incredible start. And, this may be the last regular season game, but don't forget the Team Australia is playing right here in Melbourne in February for the first time since 2017. It's a 2-game exhibition series against the KBO's Hanwha Eagles right here at Melbourne Ballpark. For more information, of course, visit melbourneaces.com.au. Put that up.
Well, it's 7-0 as we go to the 3rd inning. Yep, 7-0. That's the score. The Aces have 7 runs. The Cavalry have sent 6 men to the plate. Gives you an idea of what's transpired through the first 2 innings. Tilly Moritz Greer, 7-8-9 coming through. 7 runs, 7 hits for the Aces. No runs, no hits. A couple of errors for Canberra. Just about everything has gone wrong for the Cavs. We know, though, that the standings as we began play in the final day of the regular season across the ABL, it wouldn't change, 1 through 6. So Adelaide finishes in the top spot, no matter what happens today. Perth 2nd, Brisbane 3rd, Melbourne 4th, Canberra 5th, Sydney 6th. This is high to Tilly, 2 balls and 1 strike. So our playoff matchups are set. Adelaide hosts Melbourne next week. Of course, we'll talk at length about that game or shall I say that series as the afternoon progresses. But Perth and Brisbane meet in a matchup of 2 teams that I think are trending in completely opposite directions. And a Perth team right now that I wouldn't want any part of with the way that they're playing.
Yeah, that's in, sort of veteran leadership as well. And we haven't seen that. We saw them in the first series, right? First series of the year. So we haven't seen them in this ballpark for a long time. So it's hard to make a judgment on that. I haven't seen them as much probably as you have, but you're right. They are, what do we say, peaking potentially at the right time.
Yeah, won 3 consecutive games. Of course, playing Sydney, but still, they're doing so at the right time.
Yep.
Good team away from Perth, too. 12-6 on the road. That always seems to matter come playoff time. And while Perth will host Brisbane, so they don't have to worry about going on the road should they win.
Maybe they should go on the road.
Who knows? Yeah, we'll play you guys in Brisbane. Don't worry. I've been a little skeptical on Brisbane all year, a team that won a lot of close games early, so they built a pretty good record, but negative 30 run differential as Tilly stays alive.
Oh.
And I don't want that to be the be-all, end-all, right? I mean, run differential isn't everything, but usually when you're scoring more runs than you're allowing, you're a pretty good team, and vice versa. So I wonder a little bit about Brisbane, and they have just had a nightmare weekend hosting Adelaide with still something to play for as that series began. Here's the payoff. We'll do it again.
Yeah,
but
Adelaide rolling over them.
They are. And Adelaide's run differential now 114 this season. That is ludicrous. And the Giants with a chance to finish 29-11 with a win today. But when that series against Brisbane began, Brisbane was 3 games back with 4 to play. And there is strikeout number 6 for Gunnar Kynes. 7 up, 7 down. That's the first backwards K for the left-hander. He has been stellar. And his last start of the regular season. Here comes Andrew Moritz. But you could have swept that. Again, it's asking a lot against a very good Adelaide team. You could have swept that series. Here's another look at that breaking ball right down Broadway. Yet, not only have the Giants won the first 3, they have obliterated, and I mean obliterated, Brisbane in that series. Won, I think, 16-7 on Friday night. Yesterday in Game 1 of the doubleheader, won 17-2.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, the beauty of baseball, right, is you go over to Adelaide, the Aces next week. It's best 2 or 3, right? You win Game 1, and you never know what happens from there. But you're right, Adelaide do look very strong.
Here's the 1-1. Ground ball off the middle. Ricochets towards second base. Glendenning, though, had to try and make that from shortstop, and that was always going to be tough. So Andrew Moritz has been in a slump, but he'll take that. 1-out single, first base runner for the Cavs on a ground ball that hit off the heel, I think, of Gunnar Kynes. Get one more look here. Yeah, right off the heel.
And Moritz is pretty fast. You're not going to get him.
I think if it gets past Gunnar, it's probably a pretty standard play for Glendenning, shading up the middle, but instead, Moritz aboard with an infield base hit. So here comes Jalen Greer. I'll say this, too. I think Melbourne quietly, I think, has a much higher ceiling than the record would indicate.
Agree with
and
that.
I think we've seen that. I think we've seen close games with the Aces and Giants that could have gone either way, both in Adelaide and here in Melbourne.
Yep.
And am I going to sit here and predict an Aces win? No. We have no idea how the series unfolds. Ground ball outside of third. It's foul. 1-1 to Jalen Greer, who's having a nice series. But I think a lot of it comes down to game one. You know you're going to have to face Lockie Wells, who has been borderline untouchable this year. That being said, he did look a tiny bit vulnerable when the Aces saw him at this ballpark right before the new year. So if there's a lineup that I think could pick some runs off of Wells, if they can get things squared away, ground ball to short, could be two, a flip to second, and on to first. There's a double play. It goes 6-4 to 3, and Kynes has faced the minimum now through 3 innings. But if there's an offense that can get to Wells, I think the Aces have a decent chance, right, if they can figure some things out. And the ceiling, again, I think is really high. So it'll be a lot of fun to watch next weekend. We go to the bottom of the third. 7-love, the Aces on top. Seven nothing Melbourne as we go to the bottom of the third. Looks a little cool in that picture. That's because it is cloudy and windy, but a really good Sunday crowd to wrap up what has been the highest attended season in Aces history. And, of course, we talked about the Aces saving the best for last, and not only did they save the best crowds of the year for last, they saved the 2 best regular season crowds in franchise history in the last couple of nights here for the final series of the year. So it's been a ton of fun to be a part of, and can't say enough about the work done by front office top to bottom. Make sure everything goes smoothly, and hard to believe this is the final day of the season. First pitch, Edwards in the air to left, Warner back, still going, reaches out and makes a grab. That is a crafty catch. Edwards deserved better, and I don't know what that gesture was. I'm not sure I can repeat what it was. Back to the former dugout of Mitch Edwards. But anyways, one out of here in the bottom of the third. Edwards retired on a nice play made by Warner, and here comes Chris Burke.
I wasn't sure Warner was going to get to that.
I wasn't either.
Just strange little play out there.
Well, here's Chris Burke. Burke is 0 for 1. He's lined into a tough luck double play. 1-0. Good breaking ball there from Parsons, back out for his second inning in relief.
Yeah, they'd be hoping, Canberra be hoping that he can settle down for a couple more innings here.
1-1. Ripped right to the first baseman, and Barry catches a missile for out number 2.
Hit hard.
Well, that's 2 hard hit balls for Burke.
Yeah.
Hard hit ball from Edwards as well. I mean, the contact has been really hard for the Aces this afternoon. In fact, I might go so far as to say this is the hardest the Aces have collectively hit the ball at this ballpark all season.
I think you're right.
Well, with 2 outs, nobody on here is Jared Dale.
That's probably not a stat you can look up, is it?
We had StatCast, of course, but
hardest hit balls.
That's a major component of analysis now in Major League Baseball, but we don't really have that luxury here, unfortunately. 0-1 with 2 outs. Swing and a miss from Dale, who singled and scored in the second. So Dale will, I think, comfortably finish among the league leaders in overall batting average. What a year that Jared Dale has had.
It took him a while. Remember, we kept saying he's not eligible yet. He's not eligible yet.
Yeah, right on the edge. Here's the 0-2. And he pops this straight back and out of play. That was one of the biggest days of the year for me when I, for about 2 straight weeks, said Dale's average is up there, but he doesn't quite crack the top 10 because he doesn't have enough plate appearances. And finally, the day that he got there was a multi-hit game that not only put him on the leaderboard, he led the league after that night. So woke up the next day, and there was Jared Dale, number 1 in the league with, I think it was a 344 average. Keeps himself alive here going after an elevated fastball.
Yeah, he's been tremendous, as we mentioned before, being able to play a couple of different positions. Great at the plate, just a good guy to have around, and just really can't speak enough about him.
0-2. Fouled back.
I mean, it's a good clubhouse, Michael. They got some, as we mentioned, some good veterans, guys who've been here. The Americans have fit in. It's just been, we had the Japanese guys earlier in the season.
0-2. And Dale lays off that breaking ball. Yeah, and it feels like an eternity ago that the Japanese players left. But that's some really nice first half contributions from the guys who came from Oryx. Remember, Kaede Yokoyama was one of the best closers in the ABL for the first 5 weeks of the year. And when the Aces were in a significant pinch because of the early season injury to Tucker Mitchell, Sho Fukunaga stepped in and helped bridge that gap as Mitch Edwards got a little more comfortable. Now Edwards starts every night. 2-2, beg your pardon. Rip foul down the left field line.
It's always a funny one every year when you get the Japanese players coming over and you just know they're not going to be here for the full season, but you always kind of forget and you kind of go, oh yeah, they've got to leave.
And that's like a mandated month off, I believe. They get a full month off. That's why that happens. 2-2. Ripped up the middle and down for a base hit. Jared Dale with 2 more hits this afternoon. And he keeps the 3rd inning alive. Robbie Glendening, the leadoff man, hitting for a 3rd time in as many innings. The Aces have been all over the Cavs, 7-0 here at the bottom of the 3rd with 4 in the first, 3 in the second. And Glendening up once again in the 3rd. Robbie 1 for 2 with a single. Run scored and a fly out. First pitch fouled back. Doesn't matter what happens, though, if the Aces do indeed beat Adelaide and advance to the championship series. They'll have a long way to go, whether it's either Perth or Brisbane in that title series. Of course, they'll get to host at least one game. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold. But if they were to beat Adelaide, you'd assume it would be game 1 of the title series.
Friday night. Yep.
2 outs to the man at first. 7-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. Swing and a miss there from Robbie on a ball in the dirt.
It's an oddity, Michael. You've got Glendening now, 3rd at-bat in the 3rd inning. So he's in an at-bat in the 1st and the 2nd. Same with George and Whitefield if they were to get up. But, 3rd at-bat, 3rd inning.
Well, he fights this off.
Could be up for a 6 at-bat night. Maybe 7. What do you think?
Darryl had, we haven't had that here. There were a couple of guys who got 6 in that 10-7 game against Perth.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we haven't seen the Aces break out like this. And remember, too, when we came into this series, one of the things you and I talked about on Thursday was the average combined run total at Melbourne Ballpark this year was 6.5. The Aces have 7 by themselves through 2+ innings this afternoon. So this has been uncharted territory, to say the least. 1-2. Swing and a miss. Glendening down on strikes. First strikeout for an Aces hitter this afternoon. The team in the league with the fewest number of strikeouts collectively. But the Aces take a 7-0 lead to the 4th, and Ed Wyatt takes over the play-by-play duties here on Aces TV.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than specials, we have specialties. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
At U-Blinds Australia, it's our great low prices that make the difference. In our end of summer Aloha clearance sale, save from 30% up to 50% off our range of blinds, shutters and awnings. U-Blinds Australia, more value for you.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Aces with a comfortable 7-0 lead as we head into the top of the 4th inning. That gentleman having a good time out here in the afternoon. Haze, I guess you would call it. Ed Wyatt and Michael Dixon with you. Thanks for joining us wherever you are in the world. Gunnar Kine's been nothing short of spectacular. 6 strikeouts, only 1 hit, no runs. And back to the top of the order for the Canberra Cavalry. Michael Campbell struck out his first time up. Not that unusual. 6 of the 9 batters have either gone down swinging or looked at a 3rd strike. That misses. 1 ball, 1 strike to Michael Campbell, the right fielder. Last regular season game of the year for both these teams. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball. 2 strikes on Campbell. Campbell, Min Park, and Cam Warner for Canberra here in the top of the 4th. Swing and a miss. Campbell goes down for the 2nd straight time. 7 strikeouts for Gunnar Kines. Just absolutely unhittable.
Well, he started the game with 5, and it's tied for the most strikeouts through 2 innings for an Aces pitcher in a game in franchise history. So that strikeout total continues to go up, and we're seeing something that we haven't seen all that often in Aces history.
Something special, no doubt about it, as Min Park steps in. He too struck out in the 1st inning. That's a pop-up. Should be playable. Dale over and makes the catch. 2 down. Kerrigan was running in. Dale called him off and made the catch. Not always easy in this sort of hazy, sunny afternoon sky at the ballpark here. Park, you can see just getting under it, popping that up. There's Dale. Kerrigan coming in. Kerrigan backs off at the last minute. Dale takes it. 2 down. Cam Warner now, left fielder. Off to a rough start. Strikeout in the first inning. Error as well. Ball that got past him in left field. He's hit that well, but right at Chris Burke. And it's another easy 1, 2, 3 inning for Gunnar Kynes. What an afternoon he's having. We'll be back. Bottom of the fourth coming up. Aces still in front, 7-0.
There's an unseen thread woven into the fabric of all Australian homes. It's our way of life. Sun-kissed days, afternoon storms, and memories shared with those we love. It's messy, but you bet we make it work. In the end, it's the simple things that make an Australian home home. And what did the trick then still does the job now. Hills, Australia's trusted clothesline since 1945.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Final game of the regular season. The Aces not messing around here. 4 runs in the first, 3 runs in the second, 7-0 lead. And I believe we've got a punt 1, 2, 3 pitching change. Billy Parsons is done. The Bendigo native takes a walk after doing a pretty good job of letting things cool down a bit.
Yeah, and he makes way for Ki-Hoon Kim. So Ki-Hoon Kim, the left-hander, takes over in the bottom of the fourth. All aces thus far.
Yeah, Parsons, inning and 2/3. A couple of hits, a few runs, but also sort of got out of what could have been even worse situation. Kim now coming in to face George Whitefield and Bird. Not an easy assignment by any means. Ki-Hoon Kim, 24-year-old, out of the Kia Tigers in Korea, the KBO. Let's get a look at the crowd. Melbourne Aces dancers out and about. Canberra dugout.
Leading off for the Melbourne Aces, Daryl George.
So here comes Daryl George to the plate. Couple of hits, single and a double. Just needs a triple and a home run for the cycle, Michael. Arguably the two, well, not even arguably, the two hardest to get.
How insane would it be if Daryl George, after a single and a double, tripled to then set himself up for a natural cycle with a home run that set the all-time franchise record?
Oh, man. That's popped up into right field. Campbell, who's had a busy series out there under it, and makes the put out. 1 away. Here comes Aaron Whitefield now. Got a single that kept that hitting streak alive, up to 16 now.
Next up for your Melbourne Aces,
Apologies. Whitefield is out. George Khalil, pinch hitting. I was just about to say maybe it's time to give Whitey a rest. And I look up and there's George Khalil. So John Diebel way ahead of me as usual.
Well, of course, you put him in there to hopefully give him a chance to extend that hitting streak, and then he gets it, and you give him a break.
Absolutely. So defensively now, we'll have to figure out what. Let's play manager, Michael Dixon. What do we do in the field with your all-star, superstar center fielder out? Does Kerrigan go to center? Somebody else go to right? Bannister to right? Kerrigan to center, maybe?
It's a good question. I think the bigger question right now is what the Aces do on the infield.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Is Jared Dale? Do we put him in the outfield?
I mean,
He's done everything else.
Yeah, I don't know what they're. I honestly have no idea what they're going to do.
That's popped up as well. Jack Barry running in, calling off the catcher Tilly, and makes the second out. So 2 quick outs here for Ki-Hoon Kim in the bottom of the 4th.
There's also no guarantee that Khalil stays in the game, but I would struggle to see the reasoning behind a pinch hit appearance in the 4th without him taking over defensively, because it's not like you've got a 40-man roster down there. So
well, here's Greg Bird, singled and scored, sacrifice in the 2nd. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Misses outside and low. Ball 1, 1-1 on Greg Bird. Gonna miss watching him hit, Michael. I tell you what, he's been such a great ball player to watch this season. That's grounded foul. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. And dare I say it, Canberra on the verge of a first 1-2-3 inning potentially here for Ki-Hoon Kim, something they haven't seen in the game so far. Outside corner, Bird punched out. Ki-Hoon Kim gets the job done. We'll see what's happening in the field for the Aces when we come back. Still 7-0 in favor of the home team.
Look up here in the grandstand, folks. It's Melbourne Aces dance crew. All-Star Access Hire are your access equipment specialists. We have an extensive range of state-of-the-art equipment and we pride ourselves on delivering outstanding customer service. We have the youngest fleet of equipment in Victoria and we are consistently adding new machines. We get to know our customers and form partnerships with them. This video is of our partnership with the Victorian Government at Reservoir Station. All-Star Access Hire are proud sponsors of the Melbourne Aces and our All-Star Bar.
Welcome back to the ballpark. Aces up 7-0, and we did mention those defensive changes that were coming, and there have been a few. We got some of them right. We didn't get them all right. Jared Belbin moves from third base to left field. Chris Burke moves from left field to right field, and Jimmy Kerrigan moves from right field to center field. So the outfield is Belbin, Kerrigan, Burke, looking left to right. George Khalil, who pinch hit for Whitefield, comes in, takes over for Belbin at third base as Belbin moves to left field. Got that all, Michael Dixon?
I do. I wrote it all down.
Very good. So infield is Belbin, Glendenning at short, Dale at second, and Greg Bird at first. And I smell a hot dog wafting into the booth. That's hit into center field, second hit of the night. So Robbie Perkins gets on to lead off the 5th inning.
Off the end of the bat, softly hit, but effective enough. And Canberra with only its second base runner of the ballgame. So Kynes has been in complete control, and he's faced the minimum thus far. Had the double play in the 3rd.
Huh, look at that. Fullerton rips that into left field. Belbin's first action in the outfield, and just like that, the first 2 batters are on. Here comes Jack Barry. So boom, suddenly the Canberra Bats are awake in the top of the 5th inning.
Yeah, that was just a pitch that Kynes left up in the zone. He's elevated quite a few this afternoon and blown them right by Canberra hitters, but
that's hit really well, but it's going to fly foul. Barry way ahead of that, but boy, he made some contact. Yeah, he's a big, strong man. We know he can put him out. He's already done it once in the series, and he was the first Canberra batter to actually get bat on ball in this game in the 2nd inning. So Gunner needs to be careful here. Swing and a miss. Good breaking ball. Fooled Barry. 2 quick strikes on the big first baseman. So Canberra trying to climb back into this thing. They're behind 7-0. Top of the 5th inning. Swing and a miss. Got him. Good recovery from Gunner Kynes. 8th strikeout of the night. 1 down brings up Cam Tilley. He struck out looking in the 3rd. He also has a bit of power, so Gunner can't be needs to be a little bit careful here.
And that actually ties his aces high with 8 strikeouts. So Gunner dialed in here on the final day of the regular season.
Good fastball inside corner, strike 1. That's hit sharply right at Khalil. Goes back to second for the double play. Pitcher's best friend. Canberra get a couple people on. Can't do anything about it as this line shot to George Khalil. Gets 1, throws back to second to Dale for 2, and we're out of the inning. Bottom of the 5th coming up. Aces still leading 7-0.
Aussie gardeners are best served by Aussie tools, built specifically for our unique environment and conditions. Back in the 1890s, Leonard Chambers and William Thompson started a beekeeping supply business in Melbourne. Little would they know that their company would go on to change how Australians garden for well over a century. Cyclone is ingrained into our country's history and our way of life. Our tools are long-lasting and purpose-built for hard work.
We've been making quality tools for over a century.
They last that long, you can hand them down to the next generation.
Good quality, honest product that the Australian people have grown to love.
It's not an Aussie shed without a cyclone.
My biggest takeaway of being here for 34 years is just sense of pride in the product.
Australians buy good products. So if they keep on buying, we keep on making, so we're here.
Cyclone tools, made for Australians.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Need to remind you, the 5th inning is brought to you by Crew Fitness and Performance with a more than vision. What drives the Crew team and its members is a dedication to community and an eagerness to be surrounded by a personal growth culture. Stopping at their location in Braybrook or Hoppers Crossing to see for yourself. Crew Fitness and Performance, a proud sponsor of the Melbourne Aces. Jimmy Kerrigan at the plate against Ki-Hoon Kim. It is 7-0 in favor of the Aces. Bottom of the 5th. Last game of the regular season for both these teams. Aces in the finals next week against the Adelaide Giants. 1-1 to Kerrigan, who has a sack fly in the first, walked in the second. That's hit well into left center field. Back. It's gone. Jimmy Kerrigan. Second home run of the series. Take a bow, JK. How about that? Hit parade continues.
You and I talked about it, but I think one of the big keys for Melbourne in this upcoming postseason run is Jimmy Kerrigan, because he can be the X factor. He's right there in the middle of the order, plays very sound defense. He can do a lot with his legs, but he can also hit for a ton of power. And when it comes down to big moments in playoff games and you need someone to come through with a big swing, Jimmy Kerrigan could be that guy the Aces are relying on. And it's great to see him with a couple of home runs here late in the season.
Yeah, great stuff from him, and I agree with you 100% on that. Play a bunch of different positions. He's quick on the base pass. He's got power. Jared Belbin now reached on an error in the first, flew out in the second. Looks at a ball, 1-1. Grounds that one sort of weakly to Fullerton. He's up with it. Fires across to Barry. One away. So here comes Mitch Edwards. Singled in the first. Flew out in the third. Aces comfortably in front. 8-0.
I'd say so. Comfortably in front, and Kynes has faced one over the minimum through 5. So
pretty remarkable stuff.
Saving their best performance at home for the last one of the regular season.
First pitch is a ball, and that's a good way to go into the Adelaide game. Look at the Aces dugout. Swing and a miss. Edwards, 1-1. Bottom of 5. That's hit well into center field, but Moritz has a beat on it right from the start. Makes the catch, 2 down. Brings up Chris Burke. Lined into a double play in the first inning. Lined out sharply to Jack Barry in the third inning. So he's hit it hard, but hit it at people. By the way, got a little clarification on that play where we thought the other night, where we thought it was a third strike, was actually a ball, and was speaking to Jeffrey Dunn. He said the Japanese umpires are used to making a louder noise when there's a ball, right? So it's just sort of a cultural thing, the way they play. There's a grounder to Greer, throws to first, little tight at first, but makes the out. So home run for Kerrigan. Aces add another one, have an 8-0 lead as we head to the top of the 6th.
Aussie gardeners are best served by Aussie tools, built specifically for our unique environment and conditions. Back in the 1890s, Leonard Chambers and William Thompson started a beekeeping supply business in Melbourne. Little would they know that their company would go on to change how Australians garden for well over a century. Cyclone is ingrained into our country's history and our way of life. Our tools are long-lasting and purpose-built for hard work.
We've been making quality tools for over a century.
They last that long, you can hand them down to the next generation.
Good, quality, honest product that the Australian people have grown to love.
It's not an Aussie shed without a cyclone.
My biggest takeaway of being here for 34 years is just a sense of pride in the product.
Australians buy good products. So if they keep on buying, we keep on making, so we're here.
Cyclone tools, made for Australians.
Light and Easy have been named Best Healthy Meal Delivery Service again, but you won't find us stopping to celebrate. We're busy making it easy for Aussies to achieve their well-being goals, and the results speak for themselves. Light and Easy, just good food and great results.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. Got a punt 1-2-3 pitching change, and it's probably not someone you've seen before. It's Lockie Amon. It's a young kid. As we look at the home run from Jimmy Kerrigan in that last inning. Lockie Amon just turned 18, going into year 12 at Strathmore Secondary College. Plays at Essendon Baseball Club. As we continue to look at the home run from Kerrigan, we'll get a look at Lockie Amon in a second. I know the folks out there, his folks, his family, his friends will want to see the young kid who's out here in the bigs, if you will, the ABL. There he is, left-hander wearing number 3.
Yeah, what a moment this is. And one of the great things about this league that you learn very quickly when you come here and you understand the importance of the developmental aspect of the ABL. And so we've seen a couple of outings from opposing pitchers this year in this same realm where you're trying to get a kid 16, 17, 18 years old a chance. But, yeah, he looks quite young. And he's out there with 2-seam, 4-seam. He also mixes in a sweeper. And he looks the part.
Gets a strike called right there to start against Andrew Moritz. So he's up against Moritz, Greer, and then Michael Campbell. So some veteran hitters here. That's outside. Ball, 1-1. Lockie Amon coming out of the bullpen in the 6th inning for the Melbourne Aces. Great stuff. What'd you do over your summer vacation, Lockie? Oh, I pitched in an ABL game against the Canberra Cavalry. How many words do you want me to write on that one? Yeah. 2 balls and a strike on Andrew Moritz. That's grounded to short. Easy play for Glendinning, and Lockie Amon's got his first out as a Melbourne Ace. 1 away.
I mean, think about it from this perspective. You got a kid like Lockie Amon out there for the first time. I'm sure that when Team Australia was making its World Baseball Classic run, he was probably locked in watching the games. And the guy he watched, who was the Australian hero in that tournament, Robbie Glendinning, right behind him, just made the play for out number 1.
Well, that's a great point, too, in a way, not being facetious as at all. With a young kid coming out, you've got a pretty good infield behind you. And here's Jalen Greer, hit into a double play. His first time up, came into the game today, arguably the hottest Cavalry hitter, although smaller sample size. He didn't play in the first game, 3 for 6 coming into this, but did hit into that double play in the 3rd. That's low, ball 2. Or ball 3, I should say, 3-0.
Well, Greer not much older at 22, so a couple of young pups going head-to-head right now.
But compare the life experience, right? It's very interesting. Drafted by the Athletics, and that's in for a strike, 3-1.
The kid looks the part, that is for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very calm,
yeah.
Sound mechanics.
And good news is, too, you got an 8-zip lead.
Yeah, it's not 3-2.
Good pitch, strike 2. So Amon's got it back to a 3-2 count. Very exciting. Gives up the walk there to Greer.
Well, really quickly before we continue on with Amon, a nod to what Gunnar Kynes did in his last regular season start. 5 scoreless in total control, 3 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and struck out the first 5 batters he faced. That was a sign of things to come. And Kynes looked very good, and another encouraging outing before they'll obviously rely heavily on him in Adelaide next week.
It's a good pitch in on Michael Campbell, who be happy to see the back of Gunnar Kynes. He was 2 strikeouts. Didn't look comfortable at all. But now he's facing another lefty, youngster, Lockie Amon. Good breaking ball. 2 quick strikes.
Well, there's that sweeper, so what is a sweeper? Nobody really knows. But we've heard that terminology the last couple of years.
Happy to use it.
It was actually recognized as a pitch in Major League Baseball last year.
That's grounded into right field for a hit. So the veteran Campbell connects, pushes Greer over to second, and Canberra has 2 men on with Min Park coming up.
Yeah, that one's tough. I think he went back to that sweeper with 2 strikes and just let one hang out over the plate again. You're facing a guy, Michael Campbell, who yesterday played in his 200th ABL game. So an experienced hitter who's played a lot in this league. And Amon trying to work out of a jam in his ABL debut.
Lockie Amon. 2 men on, 1 out. Comes in, nice pitch, inside corner, 2 quick strikes on Min Park. It's grounded to second. Nice play by Dale over to Glendenning, throws the first double play. Lockie Amon, what a debut, gets out of the inning. How about that? Look at this play from Dale. Quick bang, Glendenning's in full motion across. That's a beautiful play by the Aces. 8-0's the lead. Back with the bottom of the 6th after this.
All-Star Access Hire are your access equipment specialists. We have an extensive range of state-of-the-art equipment and we pride ourselves on delivering outstanding customer service. We have the youngest fleet of equipment in Victoria and we are consistently adding new machines. We get to know our customers and form partnerships with them. This video is of our partnership with the Victorian Government at Reservoir Station. All-Star Access Hire are proud sponsors of the Melbourne Aces and our All-Star Bar.
Welcome back to Melbourne Ballpark. We got a pitching change we'll get to in just a second, but also need to remind you, there you go, 17th and 18th of February, Team Australia versus the Hanwha Eagles right here at Melbourne Ballpark. And again, look at those names: Tim Kennelly, Aaron Whitefield, Robbie Perkins, Rickson Wingrove, Jared Dale. The names go on and on and on, and that's going to be a great series. melbourneaces.com.au for all that information.
They actually just announced about 2 minutes ago, too, the addition of Lockie Amon to that roster.
Why not, the way the youngster's playing? Here's a new pitcher, punt 1-2-3 pitching change for Canberra. Kobe Chesterton, 18-year-old Australian, on the mound now, replacing Kim. And he will face Jared Dale. And then the top of the order. So Kim was the third pitcher. Chesterton now the fourth for the Canberra Cavalry, trailing 8-0 Bottom of the 6th inning. Oh, completely lost control of that one. He's only 18. He's a youngster as well. So we're going to have two 18-year-olds going head-to-head here.
Dale knows no harm, no foul.
Comes back with a decent pitch there that's fouled out of play. As you can see, out to left center field, some blue sky now. This quirky day continues. The rain is gone. Sun is now coming back out.
Christian James warming up at the bullpen.
Yeah, temperature's at 21, or 20 even with some. Oh, and that got away from Chesterton again and hit Dale. So threw one behind him and one that hit him. So Dale will trot down to first base. An inauspicious start for the young Australian pitcher. Brings the top of the order now, Glendenning, Daryl George.
First time Dale kind of shrugged. The second time, I think he knows there's no intent, but
wasn't happy.
Still, it's...
Yeah, you're hitting the back.
All right, come on. Yeah.
So Glendenning 1 for 3, singled and scored in the first, flew out in the second, struck out in the third. That's inside. So Chesterton having a few control issues. Young ACT product. Ainsley Gungahlin, I hope I said that right, Bears. Steve Kent's old club, in fact.
Good work, too, I think, by Casey Cook in that situation to step out and just...
Agreed. Yep.
Diffuse
it.
Yep.
Diffused a little bit.
He knows he's got a young pitcher on the mound calling balls and strikes for him, so...
That's inside. 2 balls and a strike on Glendenning. It's either Gungahlin or Gungahlin. So I'll just say one of the two, and you can say I got one of them wrong and one of them right. So apologies to our fans watching from the ACT. The Bears is the club. That's high. 3-1 to Glendenning from Chesterton. Daryl George on deck.
Sounds like a midfielder for Manchester City.
That's hit hard into center field. Moritz is back on the warning track, still back. That's gone. He couldn't get it, and Robbie Glendenning with a home run to the deepest part of the ballpark. And I think the leadoff spot suits him, Michael Dixon.
Yeah, so far so good. He picks up his 5th home run. Big smile for Robbie as he crosses home plate. That's got to feel good. And as good as he has been, he's just been quietly, I think, really consistent. There you see in that bottom right-hand corner the double digits. An absolute onslaught for Melbourne against Canberra. And I wondered a little bit about Chesterton after that difficult start where he threw behind Dale and then hit Dale. You got a young guy out there, and at that point, I'm sure mentally he's, hey, just get this over the part of the plate. And with a guy like Robbie Glendenning, he knows that as well, and he's hunting right in that sweet spot. He got it, and on a tough day to hit home runs, Robbie Glendenning got it to the deepest part of the ballpark.
I thought Moritz was going to get it. He made a couple in the warning track, and back, he jumped, and it disappeared. So could Daryl George step in and hit that record-setting 40th home run?
Well, I wonder, too, if that wasn't a home run, maybe first couple of innings when it was a little cooler, a little windier.
Yeah, good call.
And you saw some missiles from Melbourne bats that fell short at the warning track.
That's hit well. Out, back Moritz on the warning track, makes the catch.
Oh, no.
He's teasing us, Daryl George.
Either ground out or hit a home run. Don't do that. That's the second time he's done that to us.
I know.
Jeez. We're just kidding.
Oh, dear. If you're just joining us, Darryl George is on 39 home runs, tied with Brad Harmon for the Aces' career home run record. Here's George Khalil now, came in and hit for Aaron Whitefield in the fourth, popped out to first base. He stayed in the game and is playing third base. So Khalil looking to get untracked. He's really struggled to hit here at this ballpark. His play in the field, however, has been exemplary. So 1 out, 10-0 Aces lead, bottom of 6. That's low. 2 balls and a strike on George Khalil. As a look at John Diebel, his lineup change has worked wonders today.
They're playing very loose and free, too.
Grounder to Greer at short. Shouldn't be a problem here. Fires it over to Barry. 2 down. So Greg Bird steps in. Single in the first, sacrifice fly in the second, and caught looking at a third strike in the fourth. Couldn't get 2 more opposite players in this one. It's 18-year-old kid and the ex-Yankee who hits it hard, but it's going to be playable. Campbell drifting way over from right field into right center makes the final out. But a 2-run shot from Robbie Glendening gives the Aces a 10-0 lead. We'll be back with the top of the 7th. Michael Dixon will take you home.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
Welcome back to the ballpark. Aces in total control with a 10-0 lead. We do have a punt 1-2-3 pitching change. Christian James comes on to replace Lockie Amon. The youngster did really, really well. 1 inning pitched. Gave up a hit and a walk, but other than that, as Michael Dixon said, looked the part without a doubt.
Well, from a very young pitcher to one with quite a bit of experience who has pitched around the world, Christian James. But, man, congrats to Lockie Amon. What a cool moment that has to be. And I'm sure he's got friends and family here watching. Maybe some friends and family watching the stream. And from our booth to Lockie Amon's family, congratulations for what will be a memory that he'll have for ever.
Indeed.
And we continue on here in the 7th inning, 10-0. It has been an onslaught from the outset. 4 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the 5th, and 2 in the 6th. And that Aces dugout meaning business is, it looks like, 9 outs to go. They'll finish with a better than 500 record this season. Nice bounce back from a tough 2022-23. And, of course, we have known for a week and a half now that the Aces are postseason bound. Christian James.
We've seen that all year from him, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, so you and I have talked about this, and I wanted to sit down and finally run the numbers. And I did. And Christian James, in his last 16 appearances, 17 innings, 14 hits, 1 earned run allowed. That's a .53 earned run average.
Jeez.
ERA now at 3.15. Ground ball to third. And George Khalil lobs across. Out number 1 here in the 7th inning.
Nice and easy from George. It's a very, very smooth fielder. Get that bat going. He's a heck of a player. But that's part of the game, isn't it?
Well, and that we talked too, the bat's been fine on the road.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of getting it going here at Melbourne Ballpark, which is not a hitter-friendly ballpark, to say the least. Robbie Perkins for a third time.
He's got one of the 4 hits.
A little bit low. Perkins has had a pretty good series, 4 for 14. All smiles in the dugout. There, old George. Jack Enciando. Nice to see Enciando from a reasonable distance and not
I talked to him
taking
about
up half
that.
the screen. And
he hadn't seen it, but he'd heard about it from his friends. He was laughing.
Enciando, Cam.
Did a nice job yesterday.
Yeah, he did. (3-1). Good fastball.
Very good pitch.
James picked in the 14th round by the New York Mets in 2016. Steve Kent, Lewis Thorpe, Scott Harkin. And a called strike number 3.
Beauty.
Perkins down looking. 9th strikeout for Aces pitching tonight. 8 of those belong, of course, to Gunnar Kynes. Now 1 to Christian James. And that is right there at the knees. So 2 outs for Christian James. And here is Harry Fullerton. 1 for 2. Homered on Thursday. And he tried to hit another home run right there, but comes up empty-handed on the Christian James fastball, 0-1.
Sure did. Big cut.
How about the combo that the Aces can offer out of the bullpen right now with John Kennedy from the left side, Evan Rutsky from the left side, and then Joey Steele and James from the right side.
And Brewer.
And,
right?
yeah, Michael
Got
Brewer.
him too.
I mean, goodness.
Yeah.
It is a fantastic bullpen. And if you can keep those games with Adelaide tight and have a 1 or 2 run lead into the late innings, I trust this bullpen as much as I think any other bullpen in the ABL.
That's a great little off-speed pitch there from Christian. There is John Kennedy.
1-2. Fastball high.
A little more action in the Cavalry bullpen.
2-2. And I believe he foul tipped that.
Yep, I think you're right.
2 outs. And Christian James looking for a 1-2-3 7th inning. Melbourne up 10-0. 4 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth. That was actually ball 3. That was not a foul tip.
Okay.
No, it is 2-2. It is 2-2. Yes.
Yes, they're correcting.
They're correcting.
We were right.
So Edwards had to turn around and say, "Wait a second." Cook flashed 2-2. Here's the pitch.
Oh,
inside. Now the count is full. And the payoff. Breaking ball, called strike 3, and more of the same from Christian James. He's been so good. Recovering from that slow start all the way back in round 1. He goes 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts in the 7th. And we go to the bottom half of the inning. It is stretch time here at Melbourne Ballpark, and all aces in the home finale.
One Love is there for the moments with the people you love the most. To share the highs and the lows together. It's the one for all people, all times, and all places. Brick Lane's One Love Pale Ale. It's the one for all.
Well, that's the final attendance number for the regular season, and a very nice Sunday crowd, 1,439. And biggest season yet for the Melbourne Aces attendance-wise. And now's as good a time as any to consider a membership for next season. Sign up today. With early bird pricing, reserve your seat anywhere in the ballpark and save big for the 2024-25 season. The only caveat, the offer is for a limited time. So go ahead and give the front office a call and get the wheels turning on an Aces membership, which can be received for as low as $20. Seung Choi Yu is out for the bottom of the 7th inning. We saw you a couple of nights ago pitched with scoreless 7th inning in Melbourne's 2-0 win on Friday. All aces this afternoon. It's 10-0. And here's Jimmy Kerrigan, who led off the 5th inning with a solo home run. And he hits this high to left center. Moritz back, still going on the track, dives, and it one-hops the wall. Jimmy Kerrigan on his way to second and standing there with a leadoff double. So how about the afternoon from Jimmy Kerrigan? Sac fly in the first, walked in the second, leadoff homer in the 5th, leadoff double in the 7th.
Did he dive or did he trip?
I think he dove.
I wasn't sure.
It was kind of a last gasp. Yeah, I mean, he can take that. He can take that risk, knowing that the ball's not going to go anywhere crazy. So
but diving onto that warning track, not
fun.
No.
Well, here is Jared Belbin. Chance for the Aces to add to their lead. And a ground ball right side advances the runner. Park makes the play, 1 out. Belbin retired here in the 7th inning. So, Yu is out for Chesterton. And Chesterton, in the 6th inning, allowed the 2-run home run to Robbie Glendenning. So the only hit he allowed, but obviously stung. Now with Kerrigan 90 feet away, 1 out, here is Mitch Edwards. 1 for 3 in the game. You kicks. First pitch strike, 0-1. Chris Burke is next.
Now it's turned into a full-fledged sunny day out here at the ballpark.
A swing and a miss on a ball in the dirt. Good one there from you, going to the back foot of Mitch Edwards.
Yeah, if you're Canberra, you just want to get out of here, get some outs.
Yep.
Get to the airport.
Yep. Pretty short flight back home, right? About an hour?
Yeah, I think so.
Hour 15, maybe?
I've only driven to Canberra. I've never flown into Canberra.
Yeah, good work there by Mitch to stay alive. I just cannot say enough about what Mitch Edwards has given the Aces.
Yep. It's been amazing.
Tough start to the year for him. He gets moved from Canberra to Melbourne when the Aces needed a catcher. And not only has he been reliable at the plate, but he's gotten better and better behind the plate. And it just feels like his presence second half of the year has been invaluable for the Aces, and started all 4 games in this series. You don't see that very often in this league. 2-2. Ground ball to third will score the run. Fullerton took an extra second, but his throw across in time to get Edwards. 2 RBIs for Mitch this afternoon. Kerrigan comes in after the leadoff double, and the Aces have matched their highest run total in a game this season. It's 11-0.
I was wondering if Fullerton was going to get that out of the, out of the glove for a minute there.
Here's Burke, first pitch. And a fastball high from you. Burke is 0 for 3, but he's hit the ball really hard. Feel like Burke deserves better than what he's had. $11 runs on 11 hits for Melbourne. Nice parallel division between the runs and the hits this afternoon. 1-1. And grounded right side, tough play under Park's glove. And Burke, with his probably weakest batted ball of the afternoon, picks up his first hit.
That's so true, isn't
Line drive turned into a double play in the first inning, tough luck. He ripped a line drive to Barry in the third inning, and there, just the ball in play, placed perfectly. Park couldn't get there, and he's got Melbourne's 12th hit of the afternoon. So here's Jared Dale. And Dale from the 9th spot has been fantastic. Couple of singles. He's been hit by a pitch, scored 2 runs.
Made a couple of great plays in the field as per usual. What do we say, Michael? It's a funny game, isn't it? Burke, as you said, just he hits it hard. That little bleeder into right field is his hit.
That's ripped foul. It somewhat reminiscent of when Jared Dale was in the midst of his absolute tear as he got to the qualification number for overall average, and then at one point led the league in average. And he had that game where he had a couple of infield singles. So he had a multi-hit game with 2 infield singles. Ground ball over to first. And Barry with a flip to you into the inning. And then he had that missile off the back of the pitcher that turned into one of the strangest 1-6-4 ground outs I've ever seen. And it's just a silly game. It really is. We go to the 8th inning. All Melbourne in the finale, 11-0.
One Love is there for the moments with the people you love the most. To share the highs and the lows together. It's the one for all people, all times, and all places. Brick Lane's One Love Pale Ale. It's the one for all.
What a fun Sunday to wrap up the regular season. A punt 1-2-3 pitching change from Melbourne. And on comes John Kennedy, a massive structure on the mound. You see him walking around. He's just a huge human being. Very tall, very stocky as well.
He is a big man.
Has that unique arm slot with the delivery. And John Kennedy, outstanding year, 2-1 with a 2.05 ERA, 22 innings, 9 walks, 22 strikeouts. He takes over for Christian James, 3 up, 3 down, with a couple of strikeouts in the 7th. Melbourne with an 11-0 lead. Yeah, 11-0. It's been all aces. And the Aces have matched their highest run total in a single game this year. They actually had the 11-6 win against Brisbane that I had forgotten about. I thought that the 10 that they scored against Perth matched the highest run total for game this season. But yeah, 11-6 against Brisbane back on December 23rd. One-0 pitch to Barry, called a strike on the outside corner. This is the 4th time this season that the Aces have scored 10 or more runs. Twice they had scored 10. And they also have a 10-0 win against Canberra. Remember that back on November 26th when they won that series convincingly. A 10-0 win in the finale. And a broken bat, line drive right to Greg Bird. Look at the handle of that thing.
Wow.
That thing is literally splintered.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of broken bats in this series.
So out number 1, and that brings up Cam Tilley.
That thing just shattered.
Tilley 0 for 2 with a strikeout, and he has lined into a double play. Yeah, the first pitch from Kennedy hits the outside corner for strike 1.
Just getting the news, you're going in to pitch the 9th.
Oh. that's yeah, I need to
just get warmed up.
You got to take the bottom of the 8th then, because I haven't thrown a baseball in like 7 years. Tilley grounds out, 2 down in the 8th. They feel bad for me, so they're just trying to make up for lost time here at the end.
Well, they didn't want to waste any arms, right?
I pitched 1 inning in my baseball career when
How'd it go?
Well, I was a soccer player, and I actually didn't play soccer for 1 season. I played baseball, so it was 7th grade. And obviously, I'm playing baseball with kids who have been playing baseball, and I'm just I felt like a fish out of water without question. But went out there, hardly played, understandably so. Colossal waste of my dad's money for me to suit up, but I think we were up like 15-0 in the 5th inning.
Dixon, get in there.
And yeah, we were about to run rule them, so they said, hey, you want to pitch? And I pitched. 3 up, 3 down with 3 ground outs to third.
How about that?
So I had the righties way out in front because I was throwing about 46 miles an hour. I also picked up my only hit, which was probably an error. But generous score gave me a base hit.
Score one of your parents or relatives?
No.
Okay.
Feel bad. Ruined the other kid's ERA, though. And that was my story playing baseball. I went back to soccer after that. I've hardly even played softball, like slow pitch softball. I haven't done it. 2-2. Soft flare over to third. No problem for George Khalil. 3 up, 3 down for John Kennedy in the 8th. We go to the bottom half of the Aces. For the final time, most likely in the regular season, at the plate at Melbourne Ballpark with an 11-0 lead.
At the Sporting Globe, we're a little different to other pubs and bars. We have more than just cooks, we have chefs. We have more than bar service, we have table service. We have more than specials, we have specialty. We have more than live sporting events, we have atmosphere. And we have more than customers, we have fans. It's more than a sports bar, it's a Sporting Globe.
There's an unseen thread woven into the fabric of all Australian homes. It's a way of life. Sun-kissed days, afternoon storms, and memories shared with those we love. It's messy, but you bet we make it work. In the end, it's the simple things that make an Australian home home. And what did the trick then? It still does the job now.
Hills, Australia's trusted clothesline since 1945.
$11-0 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. All Melbourne in the regular season finale. And one more time to remind you that New Era Technology provides specialized IT solutions for your business with internet and voice communications, managed services, as well as secure cloud hosting for data and software. Trusted by the Aces, New Era has an extensive team of engineers and sales professionals who provide hands-on collaboration that is backed by deep industry training. New Era Technology, proud supporters of the Melbourne Aces. Now the nice crowd, 1,439 on this Sunday afternoon in Altona, wrapping up the regular season. And Matt Beattie on the mound for the Cavalry, pitching probably the last inning.
You would think so.
Cavalry will have to throw this year with Melbourne up 11-0 at the bottom of the 8th. Saw Beattie yesterday. And he pitched a scoreless 8th inning. Gave up a leadoff single to Daryl George. George was pinch run for by George Khalil. And then Khalil got the second on an error but was stranded as the tying run. And Canberra held on to win 4-3.
So Daryl's going to get another crack, one last crack at it, Michael.
Yep.
He is on deck.
But first, it's Robbie Glendenning, who's 2 for 4 in the game with a 2-run home run. Robbie elevated to the leadoff spot for the first time this season. And it's worked out pretty well for him, 2 for 4 with that 2-run home run in the 6th inning. 1-0. And it's low. Robbie, you would think, with his last chance perhaps to tie the all-time franchise record held by Brad Harmon. He's got 29 walks. Harmon had 30 8 seasons ago. Ahead 2-0. And make it 3-0. And he steps out and takes walk number 30. So only the second ace in franchise history to walk 30 times in a single season.
Amazing.
And when you consider how short the season really is, that is quite the reflection of Glendenning's discipline. So you would think one more chance for Daryl George here to hit number 40 before we'd have to wait for the 2024-25 regular season to come around.
It's a long way to wait.
Right on right. Daryl with 2 hits in the game. And this gets through the legs, so Glendenning on his way to second. The Aces with 4 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh. That has been all Melbourne from the outset of today's game. And a good sending off for the fans who have supported them all season long, and for that dugout getting ready to go to Adelaide next weekend and take on the top-seeded Adelaide Giants. Have an outstanding season, but anything can happen in a 3-game series, and that'll be a good one. 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes, and Beattie has yet to throw a strike here in this 8th inning. 4-pitch walk to Glendenning, and now behind 3-0 to Daryl George. This would be a good time to green light a 3-0 swing, right?
100%.
Let one go. And it's inside, ball 4. So Daryl George walks, and I'm afraid that number 40 is going to have to wait until November.
A few boos from the fans here that wanted to see Daryl break that record, and a little mound visit here coming out to, you know what they're going to say to Matt Beattie? Put the ball across the plate.
Yeah. We got a flight to catch.
Well, it's pretty early. It's a quick game.
Yeah, that is true.
I think he's all right on that part.
Just kidding, of course. Everything we say here is, for the most part, facetious. Guys are still out there competing, even though it is the last day of the year.
Absolutely. No, and that's been, look, we've had a bit of a chuckle this afternoon because it has been a blowout, essentially. But Canberra have been sensational coming down here with nothing to play for, had every right to just kind of pack it in this weekend, and they did everything but that.
Well, 2 on and nobody out for George Khalil, who's 0 for 2 in the game.
There we go.
A couple of walks from Beattie, but finally finds the strike zone. And that perhaps a generous strike number 2, but that inside corner has been there from Casey Cook pretty much all afternoon. I think it's a pretty wide strike zone. Of course, the zone is the zone. The players really just care about consistency, and it's been pretty consistent, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Khalil grounds this foul. George took over for Aaron Whitefield in the 4th inning after Whitey, with an RBI single, extended his hitting streak to 16 in the 2nd. 0-2. Swing and a miss. And Khalil down on strikes. Beattie has his first out. And here comes Greg Bird with one last chance to set the single-season RBI record. If he hits a home run here, those would be the 5 RBIs he needed today to surpass both Elliott Biddle and Delman Young. 2 RBIs today. First pitch fastball high. And Greg Bird now with 40 for the season.
That would be exciting.
Not quite the 40th homer for Daryl, but
no,
still quite a bit of fun. 1-0. Swing and a miss.
He's going for it there.
Jimmy Kerrigan looming on deck, and the Aces with 11 runs tied for their highest in a single game this season. That is a ground ball to first. They'll get Daryl at second for 1 and a throw to first in time. So a generous double play. I don't think you're upset at all with Greg Bird playing that one safe. No need to beat it out in an 11-0 game. So that's how the 8th inning comes to an end. We go to the 9th, and it's 11-0 Melbourne.
When enjoying a punt, easy does it with Punt 123. Punt123.bet is your home for all your punting needs with same race multis and same game multi options, including daily promotions on all the major sporting and racing events. It's punting made easy. Get in the game with Punt 123. Visit punt123.bet or download the app today. Gamble responsibly. If gambling becomes an issue for you, call 1-800-858-858.
At Ublinds Australia, it's our great low prices that make the difference. In our end of summer Aloha clearance sale, save from 30% up to 50% off our range of blinds, shutters and awnings. Ublinds Australia, more value for you.
Well, Joey Steele takes over. Punt 1-2-3 pitching change here in the ninth inning, and what we will go ahead and assume is the final half inning at Melbourne Ballpark in the regular season. The Aces with an 11-0 lead.
Yeah, it would be something newsworthy if it weren't. Let's be honest.
Well, Steele has been outstanding. He takes over for John Kennedy, who goes 3 up, 3 down in the eighth, and Steele facing Greer, Campbell, and Park in the ninth.
Sorry to interrupt you, Michael. I think Canberra may be throwing a pinch hitter out there. Looks like Lachlan Bojarski, the young development player, 19-year-old, going to get a crack here.
Good call.
On the other hand, it's another one of those good news. You get a ABL swing. Bad news, Joey Steele's on the mound.
Been one of the best relievers all year.
Absolutely.
In fact, Steele has allowed runs on one swing this year. That's it.
Yeah.
Was that grand slam back in
crazy
late November against Brisbane, and Steele with 14 consecutive scoreless outings since that. And this year, Steele 1-1 with a 1.46 ERA, 24 2/3. He's walked 6, struck out 29. Bojarski indeed off the bench into the game, so pinch hitting for Jalen Greer. And Bojarski, just 19 years old.
And apparently no relation to Ulrich.
Yeah, that was my first question when I was getting ready.
Same here. I was like, obviously he's related. No, he isn't.
Well, in his first season with Canberra, understandably hasn't played much, very young. 0 for 2 in 4 games that he's played, but he has worked a walk. Fastball outside. He was part of the Little League World Series team with Australia a handful of years ago, and he had a really unfortunate highlight. You look up Lachlan Bojarski on Google. Here's the 1-0, swing and a miss on a fastball. He was caught in a rundown. Can't remember who they were playing, but between second and third, caught in a rundown, and decided to try and get to third. At a certain point as a runner, you have to commit somewhere, right? Swing and a miss. And he commits. Throw comes and hits him in the back of the head.
Oh.
And you felt bad for the poor kid because he was safe at third, but he got up in tears. There's so many emotions in Williamsport every year. Swing and a miss. Joey Steele with yet another strikeout. So how about 8 consecutive retired by the Aces bullpen? Combo of James, Kennedy, and Steele. Lachlan Amon with scoreless 6th inning in his ABL debut. Gunnar Kynes 5 scoreless, 3 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts.
There is Joey Steele. Oof. Right across the plate.
And the 0-1. Hit the other way foul. And if Steele can get these final 2 outs with no runs scoring, 15 straight scoreless outings to end the season. Doesn't get much better than that. Pitching in his first year with the Aces. 0-2. Drops a breaking ball just a little bit low. Campbell is 1 for 3. And the Aces lead 11-0. Post-game lollies on the menu. And the not-so-healthy ones. Give me the ones with a lot of sugar. 1-2. Grounded towards second. Nice snag from a knee. Jared Dale, what a play. Well, as good as Joey Steele has been, it always helps to get the kind of defensive play that Aces pitchers have gotten this season, and that's another great one.
Very hard. Like a little slide, little style to that, too, from Jared.
Well, obviously, the Aces ask Dale sometimes to fill in on the left side, but goodness, he plays a good second base. We've seen him make so many good plays this season.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's where we've seen him make brilliant, exceptional plays. Not that he doesn't make them at the other positions, but they've been at second by and large. That's another great play. Here we go. That fooled him so badly.
I mean, I've kind of learned to be the TV broadcaster instead of the radio broadcaster, and right there, you don't even have to say anything.
No.
The viewers saw it.
Did, though.
1-2, and the Aces are one strike away from a win in the regular season finale. Min Park 0 for 3. Canberra down 11-0. Steele ready. And a cold third strike. What a way to end game number 40. Joey Steele, 3 up, 3 down. He pitched up 2 more strikeouts. The Aces win for the 21st time this year. They finished the regular season 21-19. And now they get some days off before a trip to Adelaide and a 3-game best-of-3 series against the Giants starting on Friday night. And now the race for the Claxton Shield is on. Couldn't ask for much more in this than 11-0, Ed. And Gunnar Kynes was great. The offense was great, and a complete team win. Their most lopsided win of the year, and they take care of business and do it in a pretty brisk way, too. It felt like we saw the same game for the last 3 days, just kept going and going.
Yeah, absolutely right. And it's like I said, this is kind of what I think we expected. Not a big win like this, but we expected a bit more freewheeling from the Aces, and today you saw that. Fans entertained. Again, credit to Canberra for coming in here and putting up a really good fight. Not today, of course, but in the first 3 games. And now it's a new season, right? The season essentially ends. We move into the postseason as we start to look at the highlights here with Greg Bird getting things started there.
Yeah, that was with the bases loaded, nobody out. Made it 1-0. Bottom of the first with Jimmy Kerrigan.
How hot's he been?
Man, he's been good. Sack fly here made it 2-0. And this was a stretch in which 4 consecutive plate appearances resulted in an RBI and a run for the Aces. So this game was over just about as quickly as it began. Here's the RBI for Melbourne. That would have scored a run as Whitefield came in, but Melbourne had a 3-0 lead, and then it was Edwards, speaking of hot, and a guy who's been remarkably consistent. Another base hit for him, and it was a 4 spot in the first.
Well, you combined 7 runs in the first 2 innings with 5 strikeouts in the first 2 innings, and that's a recipe for a pretty easy win.
Guys enjoying from the first base dugout. Again, their fate had already been decided. Clinched the playoffs last weekend. Aaron Whitefield, that base hit, extended his hitting streak to 16. He's now 1 shy of tying the all-time franchise mark. It was a single with a 2-base error, so Whitey got 1 RBI there. And then Greg Bird thought this was going to get out.
Yeah, I know. But
it stays in the ballpark, 1 of 2 RBIs for him. And the Aces with a 7-0 lead. Greg Bird with 40 RBIs. Jimmy Kerrigan, a slow couple of days to start this series, but really heated up towards the end. And back-to-back games with a home run. 2 more RBIs for him this afternoon, and Kerrigan's been swinging a hot bat. That made it 8-0 in the 5th.
Get a look at Jimmy here. As we said, he's got the power. Connects with that. And it was initially, we thought, a tough day to get one out of the ballpark, but as it warmed up a little bit. And here's Robbie Glendenning with one that I wasn't sure was going to go. If you watch Moritz, he goes back. He thought he had a crack. He was going to jump, but then he ended up not jumping, just kind of falling down as it flies over the fence.
Well, you said it had warmed up and balls were flying a little more than they had been earlier, and I think that sneaks out as a result. And an RBI ground out to make it 11-0, and there's just no way around it. Melbourne, the better team, obviously, and they flexed their muscles today.
And I think that's why there was a little frustration, Michael, in the first few games, that the Aces were a far better team. And this is, again, they're maybe not 11-0 better, but this is what people thought they were going to see coming in. Canberra put up a good fight, did some good pitching early on, but today was all about the Aces. As you can see, the final score, 11-0.
Well, that's a cool look. Our last look at Melbourne Ballpark for the regular season. Hard to believe it's over. Melbourne, 11 runs, 12 hits, no errors, 5 left. No runs, 4 hits, 2 errors, 2 left for Canberra. Kynes, the winning pitcher. Homea takes the loss. 217, the quickest 9-inning game for the Aces this season. In fact, the 3 quickest 9-inning games of the year were the last 3. Go figure. 1,439. A good Sunday night or a Sunday afternoon crowd here at the ballpark. And always kind of weird now, Ed, because you and I don't travel with the team. So we've got to say, hey, thanks so much for making us a part of your weekends when the Aces were at home and welcoming us into your living rooms or your smartphones or whatever. It was a pleasure to work with you. I sure hope we get another chance to do it in the capacity of the Aces booth. We'll work together here in a few weeks with the Team Australia and Hanwha Exhibition Series. That'll be a lot of fun, but so much fun to be a part of this, and obviously a big thanks to the likes of Brett Ralph and the entire ownership group with Jet Couriers for not only welcoming me in, but also, providing us both the platform to call the games, and it was a pleasure, and I sure do hope that we got one more game to call in the championship series.
Yeah, that would be sensational. It'll be a packed house. You know that if that's the case. And, Michael, I echo the sentiments that you said, and it's always a funny thing when, I've been here for a while and they kind of run these American guys over. Who's the guy coming this year? And you and I had a Zoom a while back where we first met each other, and I could tell just from the conversation. In fact, when I first saw your clips and your tape, I said to Justin Huber, I said, this is the guy. He's got a great voice. I really like this guy. They didn't listen to me. They made the decision on their own, but it has been great. Really enjoyed it, and you're right. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to bring this to people watching across the world, people that have a vested interest in not only their teams but their players, whether it's American people looking at their friends and family playing here or around Australia, and we try to do our best to call these things fairly and squarely. But it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
Yep, our relationship evolved, too, from just calling the games to going to break and talking about the Cars and what were some other bands with Tears for Fears. We connected that way too. So a lot of fun, and that'll be it. Hopefully not for good, but all we can say is the Aces have 3 games upcoming, at least a best-of-3 series upcoming in Adelaide, and we sure hope that they're the first to 2 wins in that series, because it would be a lot of fun to talk to you guys one more time. Not next weekend, but the weekend after that. So stay up to date this week with playoff coverage, and obviously with all of our social media from Adelaide next weekend. That'll be a good way to keep tabs with what's happening starting Friday night with Game 1 of the 3-game set. It's the Aces and the Adelaide Giants in the first round of the finals. For Ed Wyatt and the rest of our outstanding Sportscast Australia crew, can't thank them enough for what they were able to do for us this season and the accommodation that they provided here in the booth. My name is Michael Dixon, saying so long one final time in the regular season from Melbourne Ballpark, where the Aces go out with a bang by a final score of 11-0. We're not sure when we'll talk again. Will it be the championship series? Who knows? Will it be the Hanwha Team Australia Exhibition Series? We know that we'll be here for that. We'll have to wait and see. But until then, so long from Altona.
This broadcast is powered by Sportscast Australia.